RR, and that was off the back of Cuckoo's duel again. His second duel victory of the game, and actually he's going to run straight into Raging Potato now, but Raging won't bother trying to use him.
We're looking for from EXECRATION. When the spells line up, it is super explosive. Cuckoo stuck around for that creep wave for whatever reason. A bit greedy of him. They're gonna find a tier 1 bot as well. EXECRATION in a pretty good spot now with that power spec. You just need to play around their ults now, and you're gonna be set. And just play with the RP egg, or the arena egg, or the overgrowth egg, anything plus egg. And as long as you have Metamorphosis up as well, you're gonna win that fight. So that's what EXECRATION needs to look to do. They need to punish Savage for going for that Battle Fury build, which is a bit slower for the Jug. Although right now Savage is trying to solo Roche.
He is.
He's being bashed.
Look at the healing ward out. He should be right. Arbit's gonna pop the Exorcism. Alright, Savage. Maybe not so alright. Better back off there for a second. Now, Cuckoo will be in, and the press the attack will make him much healthier. And that'll be your first Roshan going down to Among Us. So even though they kind of evened out in that last team fight, they weren't really dissuaded. They do claim another Roshan for themselves, and with that they should feel very confident to start fighting again, especially once that Omni Slash is back up, which it isn't yet. But it looks like Jabs may have spotted out RR on this Treant Protector, and for now he's not going to initiate. But he does have an Invis and a Blink Dagger up. He wants to try and get something off onto Raging and Palos. Just waiting for his team to group up. Problem is, though, they don't have their ultis right now, so it looks like they are not going to engage.
Yeah, and speaking of ultis, take a look at Whitemon. He actually skipped the Soulbind just because he doesn't have the combo, so they're going for the utility, and it's really paying off. Like, you rarely see that kind of play. But Whitemon, without the ult, they're still setting up just with the Ink Spell.
Now, that does make a lot of sense, like you said. Like I mean, you do get some decent stuff, like the double. What's this even called anymore? Spirit Siphon.
Spirit Siphon, yeah.
Yeah, you can still get the double Spirit Siphon going, which I think is pretty handy. But I guess we haven't really seen the need for it yet. As Cuckoo skewered back by Carl, Jabs trying to help out but couldn't. Now they're looking for more. Meteor Hammer flying in. Won't land from BDZ, but they have caught out Jabs. And so they are fighting back. In fact, Raging gonna get a nice arena off now. Whitemon has been caught and does end up going down. So EXECRATION really giving it back to Among Us now, and they do get the slight net worth lead going.
Yeah, and they're gonna find that tier 2. You've got that Metamorphosis on Palos. Perfect time to force a push, perfect place to force a fight. And Among Us, it's a bit costly to lose that one. They've dropped their net worth lead. They can't quite find a trade on the top tier 2. A lot of pings out onto Savage. They still have Egg and Arena. This is not an easy tower to take.
It isn't. Gonna give it a crack. Yules. It's gonna be out from Arbed onto BDZ, and that's gonna force out the Icarus dive. They will be able to actually take the tier 2 tower, as there was no real defense to come out from EXECRATION. I suppose EXECRATION doesn't really mind anyway, because they got the bottom tier 2. So pretty much even, though mid lane Cuckoo does go for a duel off onto Raging Potato. But it's going to be there with the follow-up damage, but he does get his Yules off. It's just not going to matter. No teammates around from EXECRATION to help Raging in that situation. And with that, it looks like they're not done among us. They may want to try for that mid-tier 2.
Yeah. Jabs, what? RP?
Alright, they'll commit the RP onto Jabs, but now you definitely can't stop this mid-tier tower push.
No, that's strange decisions. Like, they used Overgrowth once alone just for Jabs, now the RP as well. It's a bit heavy to commit, and if you bleed your outer towers like this, Among Us are gonna be happy. Like, they get to control that entire top jungle now if they wanted to. This gives them easier access to the Roche Pit as well. No TP points left for EXECRATION. They're gonna have to keep a steady eye on the Roches. That's probably where Among Us will set their sights next, if not, because the high ground is pretty hard. They're gonna need that Aegis, and they're just gonna take their time until then.
I mean, they still have the Aegis on Savage. Of course, they will have to wait for the next one, because that Aegis is probably going to expire pretty darn soon. But they still do have it. Savage just hasn't had the need to use it. Savage just still on the top of the net worth board, still farming very effectively and going for the Aghanim Scepter up next. And once that Swift Slash is up for the Jug, that's when the Jug actually becomes pretty broken. I'm not sure if the EXECRATION are going to have the tools to deal with it, but they are going to smoke up before that. See if they can get a nice little pick off here for their side of things. They are going to run into Whitemon, who does break the smoke. Jabs goes in for the avalanche toss, and they got Raging. He can't get an arena off in time. Now Cuckoo, a great duel out, will also get RR. Palos will at least be able to trade and get Jabs on the Tiny. That will be an unsuccessful smoke for EXECRATION. And they may not be done yet, because Palos is still showing. But no, they won't be able to keep up with him. They'll leave him be. But now Carl is moving in. He does not have the RP, but was hoping for a nice skewer back on Cuckoo. He will not be able to get it. They'll back off.
Yeah, well-timed retreat for Among Us. There's that Aegis expiring. So it's time to sit back, relax a bit. Man, you could see Carl. You know he was wishing he had the RP then. They do have it now, and EXECRATION are clumping up, so they're going to go for a smoke play here.
Well, they still got the arena and overgrowth. Everyone just died without using any abilities, so could be nice timing. Abed, he's going to get Yules up into the arena, and Carl is going to jump in, but Knight might need to commit that RP. He will in the end, through the BKB now, and it's a lot of damage, but there's Yomli coming out from Savage. It's not going to be enough, however. EXECRATION still doing a great job. Overgrowth out from our Treant, holding everyone down. Savage, he is still on the run, and he's microing that healing ward very well, but he's forced to turn around now as Carl's going to skewer him back, but here comes Cuckoo with the dieback, or rather buyback on the LC, and they do manage to push them back on EXECRATION. Onto BDZ, who has no Icarus dive left, and is probably just set to die here. And he will. Whitemon able to pick up the kill, and well, Savage, he's already in that mid lane trying to get a high ground push going.
Yeah, it's a pretty costly back and forth. You do win out in the end for Among Us, but you can see EXECRATION, when they have their spells, they can commit. You know, there's a lot of fight left in the lineup. The lead for Among Us actually not that high, and this is probably the most even matchup we've seen for Among Us. Like, you can feel that they're being pressured. The fights aren't going cleanly. EXECRATION, as soon as they get a bigger fight, like if they catch more than one in the RP, possibly even just catching 3, I think is going to be good, then they can definitely have the numbers gain on their side.
Savage, T1 bot tower going to be taken very, very easily. Run into Raging. Spear's gonna fly out, but Cuckoo already there with the press the attack, and now the Swift Slash out from Savage. Just testing the waters, Still doesn't have the Omni available. He's going to get Arena up, but he does dodge out the spear. Now we'll try and fight back. It's looking pretty bad for him, but he's got another Swift Slash, and Raging will end up dying. Savage, meanwhile, he is out of there. They force-staff him out. Now Cuckoo getting the jewel off, but he is going to lose. Nevertheless, Palos will die. It's going in for more now. BDZ forced the Icarus dive out. It's going to be a 2-for-1 trade. Savage, well, he has Omni up in 4 seconds, so he can go for another fight.
Oh man, the dodge plays for that Swift Slash just on the edge, and you can see the emphasis of Among Us. Every time it's been about saving Savage. That's just been the name of the game. 4 staffs out, buybacks to get the purge off. It's paying off though. Like that was a massive commitment from EXECRATION. They lose their biggest hero, and you're not going to be too pleased. That tier 2 slowly going to be chipped away. You're going to be stuck in your high ground, where EXECRATION, they do have good team fight for that high ground. They just need to find the proper opening. It's always been a bit too scattered here.
Links in for a Yules. That was a very, very risky Yules to go for. Jabs luckily missing the toss on him. Well, Among Us, they'll continue with a net worth lead once again. Looking pretty darn good. Very, very hard to stop now. You've still got some decent itemization here on Palos and Carl, but it seems as though they are so dependent on landing a big RP. And even with the big RPs, it just hasn't proven to be enough.
No, they need to catch more than one. Like, if you catch just Savage, the Dispel that you have from Cuckoo is going to cause trouble. So you need to catch the LC as well. I'd say those are the big ones. LC plus Drug have to be caught out for you to really start to find those wins cleaner. It's just so difficult because it's either you catch Cuckoo or you catch Savage. The split up from Among Us has been very, very disciplined. And that's why I think the best chance for EXECRATION is the high ground. That's the only time you'll probably catch Among Us funneled up, or in that Roche pit, which, again, they have to keep eyes out on. There aren't that many wards here from EXECRATION. It's mainly in the mid and in that bot jungle, but the Roche, you really do need to start tracking that here.
Well, continue to just control the game. All outer towers gone, so next Roshan going to be up in 7 seconds. You've already got Cuckoo just keeping eyes on it with his courier. Know exactly when it is going to come up. Now into the Roshan pit, I believe, is where Among Us want to go. They just got to find the right opportunity to get in there and try to sneak this Aegis and Cheese to their side of things. And right now would actually probably be a really nice time because the side of EXECRATION are hanging out in their own Radiant jungle.
Yeah, and they don't really have vision over the pit still, so it's going to be an awkward time for them if they do just dip in. And you've got this Butterfly now on Savage. His damage spikes up massively, but the AC up on Carl does help the cause. There are a lot of pings now coming onto the Roshan. Now in a better spot, EXECRATION. A bit closer to that pit. Can play tag if they want to.
They're posturing. Take their outpost back. There'll actually be 2 outposts going to the way of EXECRATION. They do deny a nice chunk of XP away from Among Us, which is definitely going to be a decent little win. Among Us don't really seem to care too much about it. They'll just go back to that Roshan pit. Trying to make it work.
Scan out though, and you are in position here, EXECRATION.
They've got to be a bit quicker than this. Roshan's going. Carl, again with that RP, needs to land a big one here, but Jabs is going to be out with the Avalanche, and now the Swift Slash and Omni Slash flying through. It goes back onto the Roshan, so Savage, he'll get a free Aegis for himself, and now the fight will start. A nice RP though from Carl with the egg out, but again, it just doesn't matter. Or maybe it does. He'll skewer him back. He'll get the Aegis, but can they kill Arbed? It looks like they can. Back to Savage, who has the Swift Slash onto the TB. Palos trying to fight back, does get Cuckoo, but Savage is doing a lot of damage, or maybe he isn't. They'll Sunder? No, he'll eat the cheese. He'll be fine. Back into it. Another skewer out from Carl. It's still not proving to be enough, as Savage, he's hitting too hard on this Juggernaut. Back in with a Swift Slash now onto Raging Potato. And I'm not sure whether to call that a lucky or unlucky bounce on that first Omni-John. But bouncing back to the Roshan to get the Aegis and the cheese actually made it so Savage won the team fight. If he didn't have that Aegis cheese, he would have died, and then it would have been all over.
I guess things just work out the way Among Us want them to. That was a massive RP. The egg was in the perfect spot. That's the coordination we were looking for from EXECRATION. But Savage, he's proving too hard to lock down. They need a way through his spin, and they need a way to keep him locked in beyond the ult. So we're starting to look for maybe a Basher or an Abyssal up, and that's going to be down to Carl. It's just that it's a long way off, and you know, he's finding that decent farm, but when your high ground's being sieged like this without your team fight spells, it's very hard to defend this.
Alright, press the attack, makes Savage attack so darn quick. Nice spear out though from Raging. Now the Meteor Hammer to follow up onto Savage, but he will spin through it. You've got Cuckoo behind you the whole time, so it's going to make it very, very hard to actually get any damage off onto Savage. But it's going to be an arena from Raging. Cuckoo, not going to get speared yet. Does finally get speared, but that's your arena down for nothing. They are still going to initiate now with the skewer back from Carl, but there's your Swift Slash again. Jab's actually forcing Savage out of the team fight, but they'll go back in. They are getting pretty low on EXECRATION's end of things. They need that Sunder. He will be able to get it. Palos trying to fight back up against Savage, but he has that Omni Slash again, and he's going to go through the Terrorblade. No bounces. It will finally go, but they do get Palos. They'll get RR. He'll buy back. Carl will commit the RP, but none of it matters, as Among Us are just continuing to shred them apart. And back into the mid-racks it is. Do they want more?
Man.
There's no buyback on your TB.
They can definitely go for more. There are no ults up on EXECRATION. That was one of the better team fights we've seen for them. It's just not enough. The sustain, the purges, you just can't counteract them. And they're just gonna rip in.
That'll be the second racks going down.
Oh.
Go here, Inswell out onto Raging Potato. Raging, definitely gonna die here. Savage, 10-0-13 on this jug. Has not dropped a death once. Back into that top tier 3 tower. Going to be an extremely hard defense without Palos. But Raging, he will buy back right now. They're going to give it a shot because they don't want to play up against Megas. Spear, not going to land at all. And now the jewel comes out from Cuckoo, and this might just be GG. Raging, going to go down. That'll be a tie back on your Mars. They've got Palos back up. They still have one range racks down at the bot lane, stopping them from Megas. But there's your Soulbind now. Savage looking for that Swift Slash. Not going to throw it up, but then eventually does. Will jump onto BDZ and does get the Phoenix kill, but now just needs to get out of there. With the healing ward, will be alright, but now RR with the overgrowth, holding him down. But Savage will get a triple before he does go down. And now they want to just continue chasing with the punish, but Jabs trying to kill off Palos. It's not going to be enough, however, and they will leave the building. However, Arbet did focus down the racks on the DP and does get the Megas up, and now they will just commit all their buybacks to try and finish off this game. Carl has been caught, is going to get slashed, and is going to go down. He can buy back, but he won't. He'll call the GG, and Among Us will take game 1.
Ooh, boy. Man, that back and forth early on, EXECRATION actually putting up the best fight I've seen from this team throughout the groups. Among Us just played on top. It's like they just invest so much in Savage to save him, the 4 staffs out, to toss us out, the purge coming out from Cuckoo, all the emphasis on saving Private Savage, and it paid off. Like, he died in the end for overextending, but by then it was too late. EXECRATION, I like what I saw here. I'll be honest, it was actually pretty darn good. I think they need to maybe adjust certain things. It feels like they didn't have enough control to really keep a drug down, which is so weird to say when you've got the egg going off, when you've got RP and overgrowth, but that was just the state of it. Uh, keep drafting the same way, clean up the execution a bit. Among Us, they're just a really difficult team, but that was a really close